Mr.Bones. I'd buy that for $1.
What up, peeps? Mr.Bones back at you, and welcome back to another Dollar Tree Theater. And what we're talking about is 2020's Spontaneous. Written and directed by Brian Duffield and Aaron Starmer. Starring Catherine Langford as Mara. She's in 13 Reasons Why and a bunch of other stuff. And starring Charlie Plummer as Dylan. He's in a lot of movies like Moonfall, a TV show called Looking for Alaska, and The Clove Hitch Killer, and a movie called Goalie. It's kind of a hood type movie with he's got two black best friends and they're kind of in the poor neighborhood, dark urban neighborhood, and they're always getting into shit. And a movie called Writing on Bathroom Walls, which is pretty good, where he has schizophrenia and he sees freaky horror like images, and he's an aspiring chef. And Piper Perabo as Angela, who is from Coyote Ugly, and she plays Mara's mother, and Haley Law as Tess, which is Mara's best friend. It says, get ready for the outrageous coming-of-age love story about growing up and blowing up. When students in their school begin exploding, seniors Mara and Dylan struggle to survive in a world where each moment may be their last. An explosive love story. Based on an explosively funny novel. I first watched this with my wife on some streaming service. I don't remember which one. And I enjoyed it, and then I ran across it at the Dollar Tree, and I was surprised to see that it had a physical release, because most things these days that are on streaming sites don't get physical releases. So I grabbed it when I saw it. So this is sort of like a romantic comedy. It very much has all those elements in it, with a touch of horror. I seen one guy on YouTube that did a review that compared it to 16 Candles meets Scanners, which was a great comparison. Or then it says, or any John Hughes movies meets Scanners. You know, the movie where some guy's head goes. So, this movie starts off with a bang, literally. Right off the bat, it has these kids at school, and she bends over to pick up her pencil off the floor, and she hears an explosion and blood all over the wall, and she looks over, and a student that was sitting in front of her just randomly, spontaneously combusted, blew up, blood everywhere, no bones or nothing left. And they all run outside wondering what the fuck happened. They're telling each other. She goes home that night and she gets a random text that says, I've had a crush on you for 2 years. And she replies, don't send any dick pics, please. And he sends a picture of Dick Cheney, I think? Some political person. I don't know, but she thought it was funny. And then the next day she's at a diner with her friend, and he comes up to her, says, can I join you guys? And then he tells her it was him that sent the text, and she says, so why'd you decide to come out with this big announcement that you have a crush on me? And he said, well, one of our classmates just exploded, and we never know when it's going to happen to another one of us, so I figured fuck it, and I would tell you that I had a crush on you for 2 years. And they've become closer, become an item. And slowly throughout the movie, another student explodes and another one explodes, and they don't know what the hell is going on. Mara there decides to get into drugs and starts going to meet the local drug dealers that go to school with her. And she tried some shrooms, and that's the first night her and Charlie hung out. He held her hair while she vomited and stuff. And then there was another time when she went to visit those people. She said she wouldn't buy everything they had. And he's like, well, I'll get the keys. And she's like, what do you mean keys? And he's like, I don't keep everything here. And they go to somewhere where they have all the drugs buried. But as they're heading there, the driver just explodes. And as Mara's yelling for his girlfriend to get over on the driver's side and stomp on the brakes to stop it, there's blood everywhere. She's pretty much sitting on the remains of her boyfriend. And her feet are sliding all through blood, and she can't get her foot on the slippery brake. She explodes. The car wrecks. Charlie shows up to look for her, finds her down the river by the river, and then a person shows up with a hazmat suit to take them to this little facility where all the other students are, where they're keeping them to keep an eye on them, and they're doing experimental drugs, trying to figure out a pill to keep them from exploding. And they're just keeping these kids here in this facility while the parents are standing outside worried about them. And one by one, eventually they have to come out and tell the sad parents that their child blew up. And they're trying to figure out this pill, like a medicine, that could stop it. They eventually think they found one, a blue pill called Snooze On or Snooze Off or some shit like that. I can't remember the title of it, they called it. So they eventually let him out of there. And it had been 57 days or something since a kid had exploded. So they make him go back to school, and first day back, they're having a class, and this lady from the CDC asked one to come up as a volunteer, and for some reason was asking him to rub his head and his belly and hop on one leg, and then he explodes. And then another kid in the back class explodes, and everybody starts exploding again. And they never really find out why this is happening. But that's all I'm going to say about the movie there. I'll stop right there. I'd highly recommend this movie, and I just want to take a minute to talk about Charlie Plummer. I'm a big fan of his. I don't think a lot of people really pay attention to young actors anymore like we did back in the 80s and 90s. He reminds me a lot of like the awesome young child stars we had in the 80s and 90s, like River Phoenix and Jonathan Brandis and Brad Renfro, that we lost all of them way too early. They all died young. I'm a big fan of his. I think he's a really great actor. I first seen him in Looking for Alaska. It's a TV show. I think it's on Amazon Prime or Hulu. It was a good show. He has a small part in Moonfall. That's a new disaster movie. I already mentioned Gully. It's like a sort of gritty hood movie. He's in Clove Hitch Killer, The Writing on Bathroom Walls, which I already mentioned. He has schizophrenia. And I recently learned that he got beat out for the new Spider-Man role by Tom Holland, which kind of sucks because that would have like skyrocketed his career. But yeah, that was Spontaneous. It's a good movie. It was a great little movie I stumbled upon one night when I was bored. I found it on an app, and I'd highly recommend it. If you've never heard of it, you should check it out. That's what I watched. Peace.